Welcome to the Movie Spoiler Club, the channel where you can watch movie, television, and streaming series within minutes. Today we're going to spoil the movie Con Air, 1997. This movie story plot is about just paroled Army Ranger Cameron Poe, Nicolas Cage, is headed back to his wife, Monica Potter, but must fly home aboard a prison transport flight dubbed Jailbird, with some of the worst criminals living, along with Diamond Dog, Ving Rhames, and Baby O, Mykelti Williamson. Genius serial killer Cyrus the Virus Grissom, John Malkovich, unleashes a violent escape plot in mid-flight, secretly working with U.S. Marshal Vince Larkin. John Cusack. Poe tries to foil Grissom's plan. Cameron Poe is an Army Ranger who has just finished his service and is headed home to Mobile, Alabama. The sun sets on the bayou as Cameron gallantly arrives at a bar. Poe stands there with his heart and hat in his hands waiting to catch his beloved's eye. A blue-eyed, blonde waitress catches his stare, and a smile sweeps over her lips as she skips over to kiss him. The two share a brief warm embrace, and then Poe crouches down to her torso and starts rubbing her tiny tummy and talking to the baby in her womb. Trisha lifts his face to hers and the two begin to dance. Three men drinking across the bar are aggravated at the sight of Poe and his wife. One of the men decides to approach the two in a belligerent state. The man persists to make foul gestures and insults against Cameron, but Cameron resists his urge to engage in an altercation. The confrontation dissolves, until later when Cameron and his wife Trisha are leaving the bar. The rain is pouring down in the pale moonlight. As the two hurry to their car in the parking lot, the three men are waiting around and try once again to fight Cameron. This time Cameron isn't backing down. Cameron squares off as the three men circle in. They each take a turn throwing punches until Cameron is on the ground. The men begin to kick him as Trisha runs back to the bar for help. Cameron manages to get up and throw some of his own punches. He strikes a man in the face with a bear claw to the nose. The man falls to the ground dead. Cameron Poe is arrested. At the trial, Poe's lawyer insists Cameron take the plea deal that requires him to serve 4 years. Cameron agrees, but the judge hits Cameron with a 7 to 10 year sentence in a maximum security prison. The judge rationalizes that Cameron Poe is a trained military weapon who must be held to a higher standard. While in prison, Cameron keeps his head down, exercises in his cell, and grows his hair out. He becomes close with his cellmate, Baby O, and writes letters to Trisha. Over the years he begins to write letters to his daughter, Casey. Casey writes a letter that is overcome with joy that on July 14, her daddy is coming home, and July 14 is also her birthday. The date is set, and Cameron Poe is packed and ready to go. On top of his belongings is a pink stuffed bunny for his daughter. Cameron Poe, his cellmate, and a select few others are being transported onto a plane that will take everyone to a new prison. Poe is a free man along for the ride. Vince Larkin is overseeing the transportation operation. He has teamed up with Agent Malloy from the DEA. The plane will make a stop and pick up other inmates during its journey. They are sending an undercover agent on the plane to get some more information before the convict is in the FBI custody. The agent going undercover wants to have a gun. Larkin denies any weapons on the plane. The undercover agent reluctantly removes the gun. As everyone boards the plane, each convict is searched before admitted. The undercover agent is searched by his superior, Agent Malloy. At the time of the search, Agent Malloy slips a pistol in the ankle of the undercover agent's sock. Once all the passengers are boarded and buckled into their seatbelts, the officer flight attendant begins to go over the in-flight procedures and protocols. Much like a regular flight attendant's announcement but with a little more physical violence, the plane prepares for takeoff. Back on the ground, worry sets in as they realize that some of the most dangerous criminals are all on one plane together. Things could get a little crazy on this trip. As the plane makes a descent into the air, two of the inmates locked in cages begin pulling pins out of their skin to pick the locks on their handcuffs. Sitting in an open seat, Pinball, who is serving time for drug offenses and robbery, begins pulling a long string out of his mouth. At the end of the string, a wrapped vial of liquid leaps out of his mouth. Pinball unwraps it and turns to his neighbor. Pinball squirts the liquid onto the man, lights a match, and the man catches on fire. This causes a distraction for the guards while Pinball messes with the levers releasing the locks on the cages. Nathan Jones is released from his cage and begin to fight the guards. As the chaos ensues, Cameron remains seated quietly fidgeting with his own handcuffs, but not drawing any attention to himself. Cyrus the virus is released from his cage and things take a turn. Cyrus rushes to the cockpit door and waits for the pilot to emerge. When he does, he grabs his weapon by surprise and shoots 2 prisoners dead. Once all the guards are injured or handcuffed, he bursts into the cockpit and forces the pilot to tell ground control that any and all issues have been resolved. When Cyrus returns to the other prisoners, he stands tall and proud. Welcome to Con Air. Pinball begins walking to each prisoner and unlocking their cuffs. When he approaches the DA agent, the agent panics and reaches for his weapon. He grabs Pinball as a protective shield and Cyrus retaliates by grabbing the female officer. They both have weapons drawn ready to shoot. Cameron Poe jumps in to defuse the situation. The agent gets finicky and Cyrus takes his shot. The agent gets shot in the chest and dies. Cyrus has noticed Cameron Poe and seems to have taken a genuine interest in him. When the plane lands in Carson as scheduled, they will be dropping off 6 prisoners and picking up 10 more. There's one problem. 3 of the prisoners are already dead during the chaos. Cyrus begins picking volunteers for the Carson drop-off. Cameron raises his hand and so does his cellmate Baby-O. Baby-O gets denied because they need 3 white men to volunteer. Cameron is having second thoughts. Back in Vacaville, California, the guards are cleaning out the inmates' cells. The officers find something suspicious in the cell wall. Vince Larkin inspects the findings that include a letter typed in Spanish and a bizarre photo of the Last Supper with everyone's eyes cut out. When the photo is matched with the text, it reveals a secret message. A guard outside the cell has a box obtained from the finding that says "Do not open." But he opens it. Inside the box, a bomb activates and explodes. Meanwhile, on Con Air, the volunteers are being blindfolded and gagged. Cameron resists and requests that he stay out. Cyrus becomes suspicious of this change of heart. Cameron wants to stay on the plane with his cellmate because he is about to go into diabetic shock. Cyrus allows Cameron to stay and they find a new volunteer. The plane lands in Carson during a dusty sandstorm. They make the transfer, and Pinball snatches the plane's transponder and places it in a different plane. Things get tense, and Cyrus knows they need to get moving before anyone makes a move. The officers at Carson are alerted of trouble and try to stall Con Air. Cyrus shoots the guard and the plane takes off in a hurry without Pinball. Back in the air, Cameron tries to figure out Con Air's next move. Only everyone is a little more suspicious of him. Vince Larkin gets in contact with Cyrus and the two share a conversation. Agent Malloy is furious that his undercover guy has been murdered, and so he orders some attack choppers to hunt down the plane. Cyrus is alerted that there appears to be some trouble with the landing gear. Nathan and Cameron go down below in the plane to check it out. There the two discover Pinball's corpse. While Nathan's back is turned away, Cameron writes a message on Pinball's shirt alerting Larkin of Con Air's next stop. Before Nathan sees, Cameron shoves Pinball out of the plane. Billy Bedlam rifles through the boxes of personal effects on the plane. He finds Cameron's letter from his daughter detailing that Cameron is a free man. This incites a rage inside of Billy, and the two men fight down below in the storage space of the plane. Cameron shoves Billy onto a metal pipe that jutted out during their tussle. When Cameron emerges from below, Garland Green, one of the most intimidating criminals on the plane, makes a note of the missing prisoner. Larkin meets with Cameron's wife to try and figure out why Cameron did not get off the plane in Carson. Tricia is deeply heartbroken to hear that Cameron might not be coming home today. Even after all these years, Larkin discovers that Con Air is making a landing in Lerner, so he grabs the DA agent Malloy's Corvette and speeds all the way there. The plane crash lands in Lerner. Larkin arrives just moments before the plane dives into a sand dune. Now he must lay low and wait for his moment. Upon his arrival, he can already tell that Lerner has been hit. There was no one alive in the air control tower. The crew on the plane is waiting for a second plane, but patience is thin. The crew on the plane begin to try and dig the plane out of the sand dune while they wait. Cameron wanders off to find a syringe for his friend, and accidentally sees a private jet stashed away in a tent. With the police on their trail, the crew of Con Air must work quickly if they want to get out of there alive. Time is ticking. Then one of the kingpin criminals bolt for the private jet. He frantically starts the jet and crashes into a nearby building. Cyrus is enraged by the betrayal and throws a lit cigarette onto the leaking jet and wreckage. The whole scene goes up in flames. Cameron makes it back to the plane in time to give his friend a much-needed dose of insulin. Things are unraveling quickly. Johnny, 23, a convicted rapist, is running rampant and wants to get a taste of the female officer aboard the plane. Cameron busts in just in time to teach him a little respect. The plane is ready to rock. They take off, and a hook attached to the plane catches the front bumper of the baby blue ass-kicker Corvette. Agent Malloy is stunned in disbelief because he isn't quite sure how his car made it to Lerner if he left it in Vacaville. The car slams into the ground in front of Agent Malloy and Vince Larkin. On the plane, Sweet Home Alabama blares on the stereo as the prisoners celebrate their victory. Everyone is celebrating except for Cyrus. Cyrus holds up the letter written in purple crayon. There's evidence of a traitor on board, and he is desperate to find out who it is. Cyrus grabs the female officer and threats to kill her. Baby O and Cameron both stand up to defend the woman. Cyrus isn't amused. Cyrus shoots Baby O in his stomach. Cyrus knows it's Cameron, so he grabs the stuffed bunny and threatens the bunny's life. Cameron is losing his will to be polite and obedient. On the helicopter, Larkin is begging the DA to cease fire on the plane. On the plane, Cameron becomes a killing machine. He busts into the cockpit and demands they land the plane. An impromptu landing in Las Vegas. The plane crashes through the sign of the Hard Rock Cafe. As Cameron and Cyrus square off, the two crawl out of the plane. Cyrus makes his way onto a fire engine. Poe and Larkin team up and steal police motorcycles. The two of them chase after Cyrus. Poe catches up to the engine and the two prisoners battle it out. Poe stabs Cyrus in the leg with a stake on the side of the engine, and then handcuffs Cyrus to the ladder. When the engine crashes, Cyrus is flung off the engine into a steel packing machine. The steel weight comes crashing down full force on top of Cyrus's head. Cameron turns around to make his slow-motion promenade through the fire and flames. When he catches sight of the pink stuffed bunny floating down the road, he grabs it right before it slips under a street grate. When he looks ahead, he can see his wife Tricia and their daughter Casey. The family reunites. Poe attempts to clean the bunny from the water it's been soaked in. He smiles and hands it to his daughter. "Happy birthday, darling." Casey is put off initially but melts after a few moments. The three share a warm hug and lots of tears. Movie trivia. Do you know that the Las Vegas scenes were filmed at the legendary Sands Hotel immediately prior to its demolition in late 1996? When the production team heard about the city's intentions to raise the historic landmark, they immediately scheduled a multiple camera setup to take advantage of the rare event, which is what you actually see in the movie. This movie gets the movie rating of 6.9 from IMDb, Tomatometer rating of 56 and audience score of 75 from Rotten Tomatoes. Thank you for watching and be sure to hit like, subscribe, share your thoughts in the comments section, and hit the notification bell for the new movie spoiler video every week.